Hey there, fellow travelers. Thanks for tuning in to the Dirt Road Tourist. For those of you who subscribe or have listened to me before, you may be asking, where did Ken go? There's been a bit of a break in my schedule lately, and I want to talk about that right after this. Don't go away. Hello and welcome. My wife Susan and we're on a mission to explore the byways of this country to find the food, the people, and even the odd stuff. We're exploring where the roads lead after you leave the interstates behind and beyond where the roads end. Whether you're thinking about getting started overlanding or rocking a fully built rig, I'll be talking about the places we go and giving tips to make your journeys go smoother. And it all starts now on this episode of the Dirt Road Tourist. Okay, so let's get the elephant in the room out of the way first on this episode. There's been a pretty big gap in my publishing schedule lately. Hey, if John Oliver can get away with taking half the year off, so can I, right? Well, maybe not. I needed to step back and take a look at what I want this show to be, and I had kind of fallen into a rut on topical instructional shows. So after publishing every episode, there was the immediate pressure to come up with a new topic, research it out, write a script. Yeah, I was actually scripting these out, partly to present info in a clear point A to point B to point C format, and kind of partly to exercise the demon that I had when I was getting used to sitting down behind a mic. I've never done this before I started this podcast. I had never actually, done any kind of broadcast work, so it's a thing, folks. You will never know how much you lean on the word until you listen to a recording of yourself. Anyway, producing the show in that way, it had started to just not be fun. I'm not out here to impress you with my radio voice or amass a huge audience. The only criteria I have for doing this is to add to my overlanding experience, and hopefully yours as well, and to have fun making the content. When it starts to have the pressure of a job, I'm out. I've always wanted this show to be less about how to overland and more about what we do overlanding. I wanted the show to be more inspirational than instructional. And most of all, I've found that when I'm reading from a script, I just don't sound like, me. I sound like whatever I've written. I feel like I'm ready to take the training wheels off this thing and just get out there and send it, so to speak. So here's trying. Stick with me. So, speaking of talking about what we do overlanding, the beginning of this month was the Southeast Overland Camping Event at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. And this was another fantastic event. I was surprised at how these things just keep getting bigger and bigger every year. Darren and the crew with TNT Overlander just keep hitting it out of the park. We didn't attend last year's event. We were at the one the year before last. The vendor area was about twice the size it was 2 years ago, and the storyteller row was a really cool addition to the event this year. I got to meet the folks at Spartan Overland and chat a little with Deb and Bill with Cottywample. The one negative thing I have to say about this year's event is that Susan had a work thing that she couldn't get out of that Friday, so it was just me flying solo that trip. I know. Aww. Seriously, though, these things are just more fun when she's along, and I missed her and Fisher that weekend. But I did score a great campsite by showing up first thing on Friday, and I had an awesome group of folks camped around my site for the weekend. One of the things that they really pull the stops out for at this particular event is the raffle. The things are huge. I must have been up at the pavilion until, 10 or 11 o'clock 2 years ago. But this year they decided to split it into 2 nights, complete with a bonfire and live music afterwards. So that was kind of cool. I lost count of the awnings they gave away. There had to be like 4 or 5 of them. And they gave out not one, but 2 rooftop tents. Seriously, these things are nuts. There was some huge prizes given away and an awful lot of them. I bought my normal event t-shirt and like 20 bucks in tickets. You get 3 in your swag bag just for showing up. And I didn't have any luck on Friday night, and I didn't think I was going to have any Saturday either until late in the drawing. I had one of my ticket numbers come up, and it turns out I won a shiny new set of OVS recovery ramps. Me and the guys I was hanging out with were like, "Hey, awesome, you won some recovery ramps." What's a recovery ramp? So once we got back to camp and I actually opened up the box, it turns out they're a set of traction boards, basically. But they're Halloween fun sized. They come in a nice little zippered pouch. You can tuck them behind the back seats in the rig, or you can stash them in the corner of the bed. Heck, they'd probably fit in my big drawer, but I'm probably going to keep them up at the front of the bed, just where they're easy to grab. I can see where they'd be handy for shallowing the approach angle onto or the departure off of an obstacle. They don't give you enough run to serve as a primary traction board, though. But I can tell you that they're going to be my new go to for leveling out the rig. So that was really a neat snag and a really neat takeaway prize from the event. And I'm already looking forward to next year's. So that takes care of recent events in the dirt road tourist world. I've got some news to share about some new additions to Bonnie, our rig, her build out. This is also why we currently are in a bit of an overlanding purgatory. I'll pull out that soapbox in a minute. I mentioned a while back that we'd invested in one of the Julka Gotta Go portable toilets. Well, it turns out that that won't fit in the bed of the truck because of A, our deck drawer system, and B, our low profile bed rack. It just barely won't fit. I've been wanting to put one of the Overland Vehicle Systems expedition caps on the truck for a while now. And this kind of gets into a subject that I want to do a show on sometime about mission creep with your rig build. We have one of the Hook Road low profile bed racks, which made sense before we put in the drawer system, and when we still had the Bushveld 2 hardshell tent on the truck. The height of the bed rack kept the tent kind of tucked in nicely behind the cab. It's aerodynamics and all. But that tent didn't work out for us. I've talked about that before on this show, so I'm not going to get into that here. But we went back to the CBT soft shell tent because we like that form factor just for a lot of reasons. Well, the aerodynamics went right out the window with a foot high brick bolted to the bed rack, and we've also wanted to add a 270 awning to the truck. But with that Hook Road bed rack, it wasn't going to work. I mean, if you're a hobbit, you might be able to stand up right underneath it, but I'm 6 feet. So we knew we wanted to go in the direction of the bed cap for a while now. It keeps our bed dry and dust free. I don't have to pull pine needles out from every crevice in the bed before trips. We have a lot of pine trees around the house and the truck stays parked outside. So it's just a mess of pine needles all in the bed of that truck with with just a bed rack over it. So the gull wing doors on the bed cap are steel and they're lockable. So I don't have to stress about our 5-pounder or our camp chairs walking away whenever we park the truck. Our stuff will fit in the bed with the added roof clearance, and we can finally mount an open road 270 awning. Just a whole lot of reasons why we wanted to go with the bed cap. The Julka was just the last straw, and we went ahead and just pulled the trigger on all of it. The bed cap and the 270 awning. So the open road awning showed up 2 days after we ordered it. Great. Okay, got that in. The bed cap shipped, but the seller said that the roof panel arrived damaged from OVS. So they only shipped the sidewalls, and they wouldn't ship the roof panel when it came from OVS. And I'll get that on Tuesday. The kicker is that the crossbars are on back order. Now, the seller says they anticipate getting a shipment of them in by the end of the month, and they'll be using those to fill standing orders first. So I've got my fingers crossed. The OVS website says they won't have them until May 19th, so I'm a little nervous. I have our awning and 4 out of 5 sides of my bed cap, but the one piece I need to mount the 270 that's just sitting out in our shed calling out to me, to say nothing of putting our tent back on the truck, is slated to ship the end of this month, if not the end of next month, which is what puts us into this weird overlanding purgatory during the literal most bestest time of the year to be out camping. Folks, it's killing me. And this isn't the first year, which doesn't help my unease any either. And I can hear you in the back saying, hey, they're bog standard T-rails on the roof of that cap. Just get a set of Alucab or up top bars and get on with it. And yeah, this is true, but OVS also has a $250 rebate going on their roof bars if you've bought the Expedition cap. So, I mean, do I want to drop $300 on a set of crossbars that get me back on my way? Or wait for what looks like a pretty good set that I'm actually getting for free after the dust settles? I mean, I don't know, you tell me. It's the same as last year after the addition of the bed drawers and the CVT put the factory suspension on the Taco way past its weight class. The leaf springs were just like a straight line. That truck was like, and the truck wasn't really safe for driving down the highway. I sure as heck didn't want to go wheeling in it. So we went ahead and plopped down for the Ironman Stage 2 kit last April, which was supposed to ship by mid-April, and that got pushed to the end of April and then to mid-May. You get the picture. It shipped in June. Towards the end, I got a hold of someone at Ironman USA who told me, yeah, we've got your kit. Got the springs, the coils, the shocks, the control arms. We're just waiting on the drive shaft center bearing spacer. And I was like, really? That's a rectangular steel plate with a couple of holes drilled into it. Most high school shop classes could make those. But we waited for the kit to ship, and it was a good call in hindsight because it's been a solid suspension kit. But I missed out on most of one spring season, and being sidelined really isn't wearing well on me this year. The first week of May is going to be reserved for our annual beach trip, and no, it's not an overlanding style trip, not hitting the Cape Lookout or anything, but we have a cottage rented for the week at Topsail. We try to do one civilized trip each year, and this is ours for 2025. The north end of Topsail, though, it has a beach with 4x4 access, so it'd be nice if I can get that 270 mounted ahead of the trip. We'll see. At a minimum, I'll have the bed cap on, so I won't have to worry about our stuff walking out of the truck bed that week. And we'll see what May brings. What I've been itching to put together is a Virginia trip up around the Priests. I know that Enchanted Creek doesn't open up till August, but there's still a ton of trail to prowl around on up there. And I know that the flowers and foliage have got to just be gorgeous up there right now. And that's still an option for a trip once we get Bonnie squared away. But there's been another contender that stepped into the ring, and only recently. Have you been keeping up with the Backcountry Discovery Route page lately? No? They've been busy over here, especially on the right coast in recent years, and they just dropped GPX files for a new Southeast Backcountry Discovery Route. And this 1,200-mile monster trail winds its way down from Damascus, Virginia, through North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, all the way down to Navarre Beach in the panhandle of Florida. So, here I am. I'm plotting out a Virginia route in Gaia, and then all of a sudden, squirrel! The Southeastern BDR strings together a lot of trail that will be familiar to anyone who lives in the Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, that area. Or this area. There's pieces of the Smoky Mountain 500 in there, the Georgia Traverse, stuff we've all done before, but then it dives down into Alabama, a place where I kind of have to admit I've never overlanded before. So it's just the thought of doing a few sections, however familiar, of a trail that goes all the way down to the Gulf of America, Mexico, whatever you want to call it these days. I'm a little torn. George Washington National Forest is nice this time of year, but I really want to check out a few sections of this new BDR while it's still all new and shiny. Hey, check it out. I'll drop a link in the show notes, but it's a heck of a route, folks. The next upcoming event I'm looking to attend is the Overland Adventure Summit in Southern Kentucky. Last year, it was held the first week in June. The website still says TBC for 2025. I hit up Fletch from All Things Overland because I know he knows the guys who put on that one to ask, hey, is this event still happening this year? We'll see. If it's on, I'm down to attend with the new and improved Bonnie. That one's right there by the D-triple-B, so it looks like it'd be a fun weekend. I'm signed up for their newsletter, so hit me up, guys, and DRT is there. After that, the other one that I'm for certain going to at this point is going to be the rooftop tent rally put on by the fine folks at Blue Ridge Overland Gear in this James River State Park every October. It's another great venue, especially if it falls during the time when the leaves have some color. And I'm looking forward to that one. So, have you got any suggestions in the Western North Carolina or Virginia area? Maybe something outside the normal cast of characters like Enchanted Creek or Flagpole? Hey, drop me a line. I can be found at ken@dirtroadtourist.com or at www.dirtroadtourist.com and use the contact me link there. Actually, I'd prefer someone use the website contact form because I recently made some changes over there and would like to know that the contact form still works like it's supposed to. As always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and follow us on all the socials. We're Dirt Road Tourist on all of them. Until next time, as I always say, have a great week and go see something amazing.